I'm now going to hand over to Eugenia Rodrigues. She's from Brazil. She's a journalist and she's spokesperson of No Corpo, Certo, which is In the Right Body. It's a Brazilian campaign against transing kids. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, Eugenia.
Thank you very much. Well, the invention of trans kids in Brazil has a seed in the year of 1979 with the invention of the trans adult here. This was the year in which a court decided that doctors are allowed to damage healthy human beings' bodies based on this idea of gender identity. In the same year that Nancy Raymond released the Transsexual Empire. So our campaign, although our focus is in transing kids, we are also critical of the transing of adults. And we do not think that it's healthy to tell a boy that he's not a girl if we're telling him that men can be women. I mean, they can spot this is a contradiction. But how did Brazilian kid really become part of this market niche? The golden year of the invention of trans kids was 2013. This was the year in which the CFM, Conselho Federal de Medicina, a national board of physicians, allowed doctors to prescribe hormones in children, puberty blockers, and car-sex hormone in teens, and not only after 18, because until 2013, the age here was 18 to hormones and 21 to surgeries. So on this opinion number 8 of 2013, these doctors were allowed to use puberty blockers on kids and car-sex hormones in teens after 16 years old. So what was the story behind this opinion number 8 from this CFM? This opinion was an answer to a consultation of a public lawyer bureau from the state of São Paulo, Defensoria Pública. It's kind of a public attorney. It's a very respectable institution here. But the point is, this institution did this consultation based on a requirement of a group of doctors from the state of São Paulo that already worked with so-called trans adults. So this group of doctors asked this lawyer bureau. This lawyer bureau asked this CFM, and this CFM gave this answer. And the very minute that CFM gave this answer, this group of doctors started to use hormones in children and teens. Children and teens. So it's like you only need a very small group of doctors. You do not have to have many doctors. No, you only have this very little, very few doctors asking for this. And these doctors were not alone. All this process they began in the state of São Paulo. They were joined by an LGBTQ org, whose name is GPH, Group of Parents of Homosexuals. So this NGO began like a group for LGBT people. But in fact, in 2013, it was already working for the T, although this name didn't change, not at that time. And even in the document, because I have these files, it's the file 115 from 2011, because this process began in 2011, and 2 years after, the CFM, the Board of Physicians, gave the answer. But in 2011, this GPH was already an LGBT org, and the document says they were fighting for LGBT kids. I don't know if they were already seeing what they were doing, or if maybe they thought that the T was just a next step, another group of oppressed kids. I don't know if they see that they were really advocating against LGBT kids. I don't know. The fact is that they had this victory and the CFM was with them. And also in this year of 2013, we have a bill here, a gender identity bill. This bill was proposed by a gay man, a LGBT activist named Jean Willis. He's from a left party here, PSOL, PSOL. So although this gender identity bill were never approved, it was very important to create this atmosphere in Brazilian left people that this was something that left people should approve, that all these trans things was something like the Black movement or the women's movement, so something that every fair person should support. This guy was also the guy that in the same year started a bill to legalize what they call sex work. Brazil, just in any other country, pimp lobby is very attached to trans lobby. You know, it's very interesting for them. And that's why this party, this left party, I mean, the trans activists there, they are the most aggressive throughout women. I mean, they're openly saying Twitter that they could love be them, and nobody does anything here. Well, the point is this opinion number 8 in the 2013. It was put in practice of this doctor. And plus, in this same year, 2013, the social media exploded here. Although many of us were already in Facebook, this was the real year in which everyone was at Facebook. And this was a year of lots of political mobs here in Brazil for some stuff of ours, you know, just like BLM. So the point is that anyone had to be in 2013 at Facebook in order to discuss all these mobs. So that's why that was the moment in which I perceived that politics here were changing. We're not already being done the way we used to, because social media changed everything. So everything that people say about woke and wokeism in America, we do have here. We call like militância do lacre. So in 2013, I mean, this trans activists were in all the social media, and we were a country in which the average Brazilian citizen could barely name the name of one transsexual adult, and probably would name the same one since he was very famous in the 80s. But the point is, in 2013, it seems like that so many young people were at Facebook and saying they were transgender and non-binary. And that's why that was the year in which I heard that I would be cisgender and all this pansexual thing. And this was the year in which I've heard about queer theory for the first time. And it's funny because, you know, the people I know that heard about queer theory here before 2013 were people that were in academic and like having a master's degree, you know, in a very specific, but in 2013, it looked like every course like science, psychology and law and arts and movies, every academic course has these discussions. And queer theory wasn't pushed like, it wasn't like other philosophies or other theories or other studies, because it was imposed like a dogma. It was like a religion. Jerry Butler and this Beatriz Preciado, which became this trans man, Pope Preciado, they were like popes. And we couldn't discuss this because people here were so fanatic, you know, and these young people were so different, you know, they was really talking like if they were in a cult. I've never seen this these young people, and even some adults, they become very, very, very fanatic. I mean, I really think that we are experiences a mass hysteria here. So the point is that, and it's funny because it's such a global thing that everything that I see people saying, that these kids say, like in Switzerland and United States and Australia, it's the same here. Like, you are killing trans people, you have blood in your hands, and you are making trans people kill themselves, and trans women are women, trans men are men, and sex work is work, and this obsession with being valid, it's incredible. It's the same phrases. Well, the next steps happens in 2018 with the National Board of Psychologists releasing a resolution number 1, saying that psychologists that do not affirm the identities of transsexual and transvestite people should lose his or her license. And not only if he or she says it to the patient, but in any place. So you were able to lose your license if you give a lecture or a speech, or if you're talking about this in a YouTube channel, or in the media. Like, you cannot give an interview and criticizing this gender identity. In 2019, our federal court, STF, Supremo Tribunal Federal, criminalized discrimination based on gender identity. And it's funny because we are not, even our lawyers, we do not know how this is going to work, and even if this is possible, because here in Brazil, courts do not create new crimes, but the fact is, trans activists and these gender doctors, they threaten us with this possibility to send us to prison all the time. So Brazil's just like other countries, especially Latin countries, are very homophobic countries. So most of these trans kids are just effeminate boys that that many gay men would recognize themselves. Well, I don't know if we're going to live to see medicine stop harming vulnerable adults, but I do believe we will stop to harming vulnerable kids. At least we should try. Thank you. In some point, you all will have to choose between protect some kind of trans and women and kids. I see many of us in some points like, oh, maybe the true trans, maybe for some. No, we just have to be honest. There is no true trans, no true trans, no one. We're just men and women, boys and girls. That's all. All type of trans, all kind of trans is a lie. Please, if you do have to choose between legitimate any kind of trans and women, girls, and boys, please choose us. Thank you.